Okay, so I had it in my head what I wanted to do with this guy, and I forgot, and I know why I forgot. I know why. It's because I'm doing this at night. If I was doing it in the morning, it would have triggered like, you know, routine. Like, oh yeah, morning. All the conditions are similar. Boom, pop right back in my head. I had no question that I'd remember it when I was thinking about it at the time, and now I have no earthly idea what it was going to be. No earthly idea. So, I have backups. I'm not super thrilled about either of them because I don't think they would be good if I could do them well, but I cannot. Hey, Ring World Engineer. No problem. Have a good night. Hello to everybody else. King, Volpe, Dog, Brandon. So one is sort of. I wish I could do the voice well, but I can't. Sort of like a Moss from the IT crowd. Kind of like a higher pitched British nerd voice. The other was to give him like a Dexter voice, not Dexter the serial killer, but Dexter from Dexter's Laboratory. It kind of makes sense, it doesn't make sense, because Dexter, I think, is German, but he is not German, but he went to Germany, so I guess you could like say, oh well, he like adopted the accent to fit in or something like that. But I don't know if I could do that. I don't think I could do that accent for very long because it's fucking tough. Hey Edgar, Didi, who are you? Like I don't know how long I could do that. The other one's a lot easier on the old vocal pipes. Who are you? Like it's just this like, who are you? It's just it's not as over the top. I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Up. A lawyer. Back up, dog. Let's relax. Ugh. Is it something I said? Yes, that you're a lawyer. A lawyer, you say? Well, would you be here about the experiment? Are you going to defend my hypothesis? Your hypothesis? Sorry, I don't... Yesterday's demonstration! That magnificent demonstration was... It was an out-of-out success by anyone's calculations. But despite that, no one listens. No lawyer believes in the science. When it's explained, they all leave at high velocity. Now's probably not a good time to mention that your zeal made my concentration leave for a while too. I didn't have a name tag on. You mentioned the demonstration yesterday. The papers have called it a spectacular failure. After all, a man died in the explosion, didn't he? Ah! Yes, you could interpret the results that way if you really wanted to. Well, I suppose in the strictest sense, the experiment was a failure. But at the same time, it was a great success. You've lost me. I saw it with my own eyes, right there in front of me. Mr. Asman was spontaneously disassembled. Well, yeah, you murdered him. Until then, everything was going exactly as my calculations had predicted. At that point, he should have been beamed to the Crystal Tower by instantaneous kinesis. However, the machine exploded, and Mr. Osman, in fact, perished. Yes, I can't deny that part of the experiment was a failure. So what you're really saying is, the large explosion that killed Mr. Asman was an accident, correct? But the bigwig said you arrested on suspicion of murder. I was responsible for a man's death. That is the immutable truth here. And for that, I wish to be punished at once. But murder? Never in a million years. Let's get it! Let's get it! Let's get it! Let's go! Yo, Nick Harper. Welcome to the student body. Much appreciated. Enjoy those custom emotes. We appreciate your support. Where did I leave off? Let's just start from the beginning here. Murder? Never in a million years. It was an accident. Simply an accident. I see. Yeah, so it could be, well, yeah, it could be manslaughter. It could be manslaughter. Which is still, you're still charged with killing a person, but it was never the intent of the person to do that. Trying to think of famous example. Oh, what was... Hold on, I want to check the disposition of that case real quick, just so I don't run afoul of the facts and tell you guys something incorrect. So, one really interesting case that was a big deal, in which, in my opinion, even at the time, this is before I got in law school, because this case is... Was I in high school? No, I was in college. Okay. So this is 2008. This is the Casey Anthony trial, where the mother was alleged to have intentionally killed her toddler child. She like drowned or something like that. There was a lot of stuff wrong. The prosecution went for the death penalty and both premeditated first degree murder, premeditated, and aggravated manslaughter of a child. The issue is that their evidence that they had couldn't, at least I thought the jury was correct here in regards to the evidence and the charges that were brought. The problem is that the wrong charges were brought, in my opinion. They shouldn't have brought aggravated manslaughter of a child, because aggravated manslaughter is like a next step up. And like this, I don't think would be aggravated manslaughter. This would just be, like, if you tried to charge this guy with aggravated manslaughter, I don't think you would succeed. Whereas, same thing happened there. She was found not guilty of first-degree murder and aggravated manslaughter. if they had just went for like a more standard manslaughter charge and not try to add the aggravation rider on it, they probably would have found her guilty. The problem is, though, that the punishment for that sort of baseline standard manslaughter is significantly less. And that prosecution office wanted to either put her away forever or get her the death penalty. He stayed up. He was, I saw him streaming. Told him that was a bad idea. So, like, that's kind of what you're looking at in terms of a case like this. Like, there was definitely negligence in that, you know, you're talking about an experiment that could kill somebody, but also, depending on the state, there could be some degree of assumption of risk too when you're talking about negligence. Not all jurisdictions have that, though. So he could still be found, I think, guilty of manslaughter, especially since he's like, for him, he's volunteering to be punished. He just doesn't. He just refuses to admit that he murdered somebody. Like, for him, that's a big deal. Obviously, for the reason of they would kill him, hang him in the gallows, as opposed to maybe just some light jail time. But if it was just manslaughter, I think, since we're talking about Casey Anthony, let's look up Florida's manslaughter. Give me the actual statute, not paraphrasing it. Okay. So, killing of a human being by the act, procurement, or culpable negligence of another without lawful justification. Felony of the second degree. See, that's interesting. Wisconsin doesn't have degrees of felonies. They have classes of felonies. A, B, C, D. Yeah, that's... I'm not looking for the fines. I'm looking for the jail time. God. Why do they do it like this? Right, so that's a 3-time. Why was I able to find the punishment for a 3-time violent felon quicker than just had you had no prior convictions? So it'd be 15 years if he had done this 3 times. See, this is so dumb. How they have it organized is fucking stupid. It's like they made it difficult to let's find the Wisconsin equivalent. Okay, so it is up to 15 years of probation, up to 15 years of prison. Florida, which is probably a little harsher than most states. I've seen people get off on not get off, but they have jail time of like a couple years, a year or two from manslaughter, and then extended probation. And that's even if they have to determine that he was negligent. If there's no culpable negligence, then he didn't commit manslaughter. Yeah, the prosecution got greedy for sure. I like even because that was probably the first time I started looking up statutes, like in depth, like just out of curiosity for a court case, and I'm like, huh, this doesn't seem like that's what they should have went for.
Charlie and I were talking this morning, you know. He said the situation would change completely depending on whether it was treated as an accident or murder.
Yeah, no shit. How exactly? Did he research anything when he was on that boat? Or did he just look at books? Like, he just stared at the pages?
Well, if it really was an accident, then the professor's machine would be kept in protective custody.
On what grounds?
Ah, yes. It's newly established here in Britain. The Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act.
That one passed me by.
But if the case is treated as murder, then they'll say my machine was the murder weapon, and they'll be able to pour over it as much as they like. If they examine it in detail, they'll find out how it's made, and then they'll be able to copy my idea. My precious hypothesis will be stolen. The machine must be protected from that at all costs. That's why it's imperative this whole incident is shown to have been an accident in tomorrow's trial.
Ah, I see now. Okay. So that's interesting. We actually do, as of right now, our goal is to prove accident. And in prior Ace Attorney games, it's been made explicit that they don't want to go for the defense of the death being accidental. Hey, Randy. I mean, I would assume he's been studying. Apparently not. Sweeping up the office all day. So in short, there was a terrible accident at the Great Exhibition Showground yesterday.
Yes, or rather, no. The devil's in the details, strictly speaking. There was a terrible explosion.
Sounds the same to me.
You were demonstrating super high voltage instantaneous kinesis, weren't you? How fascinating. Humans, like all matter, are made up of particles that are held together by electrical bonds. So it must be possible using a sufficiently high voltage to break those bonds and beam the particles through space.
How do you rematerialize them then? Do the particle... I honestly, this is an honest question. I'm not trying to make it seem like it's stupid or whatever, because I hope to God that there's some scientific basis behind it, because it'd be awesome. But how do the particles know to regroup in the fashion that they're supposed to? Because otherwise, aren't you just disintegrating the human and then shooting their energy off somewhere? Hey, yo. Yes, this invention would fall under the scope of a patent, which are considered which are really interesting in the field of intellectual property, because patents are very difficult to obtain, and the protection you get for patents is not nearly as long as trademarks or copyrights, because the law acknowledges that you should be able to reap the rewards of inventing something that is useful to society, but you should not be allowed to hold on to that power all of your life. So it's what, 17 years, I think? I think you can get an extension to, I haven't looked at anything patent related in years at this point. That's also true. You can reassemble them, but are they still alive? But it seems like to him, he's not even concentrating on the machine itself. He's more concentrated on him being recognized for first discovering and proving his hypothesis to be correct. That's what seems like what's more, about the science itself. But yeah, that's another reason why patents are so highly policed, because you only get to keep them for a certain period of time. So people that have them make sure nobody else is trying to steal their shit, because they are going to profit those 17 years and no one else. You have a limited amount of time. Hey Tom, what's up?
That's it in a nutshell. That's my idea, you see? That's my amazing hypothesis.
Gosh, that's unimaginably high-level science.
Oh, but dare to imagine it. Dare to dream of such incredible technology. Just think, one moment I could be here in this cell, and the next I could be at the Great Exhibition again.
Well, yes, that would be incredible.
And the next, in the mere blink of an eye, I could be at a great Parisian theater, say. The possibilities are endless. The whole of our vast planet would be within reach.
So no more hiding in wardrobes on rocky seas for 50 days?
I don't really see it like that.
What do you mean, Iris?
Well, if you could travel anywhere in the world instantly, the planet wouldn't really seem vast anymore, would it? I think it would feel like it had shrunk.
Yeah, but then you look outside of your planet to the vast infinite that is the universe.
My word, that's exactly right. What are the implications? What does this mean? Oops, that's got Professor Bunnybrain really worried by the look of it.
Clearly this is yet another case of just because you can doesn't mean you should, I suppose. Are you serious? This is some of the most short-sighted thinking I've ever heard of.
The point is, my calculations are flawless. The science works. Without a practical demonstration, it means nothing. And that's always the fly in the ointment. Because practical demonstrations cost a lot of money. Money that young scientists like you don't have. That's exactly it, yes. Hurley's always complaining about it. He says the government should invest more in science. Well, anyway, I bumped into him at the right time. I met the well-known investor, Mr. Asman.
The victim who died in yesterday's terrible accident, you mean? The full name of the man who died in yesterday's accident was Mr. Odie Asman, wasn't it? What exactly was your relationship with the man?
First visited me in my laboratory in Germany a year ago now. He said he wanted to invest in my immaculate hypothesis. I thanked him. I thanked my lucky stars.
I see. So you hadn't really known each other until then.
Money for scientific research. I'm so envious. As far as I was concerned, the man was an angel.
Oh, really?
An archangel, even. He was prepared to fund a practical demonstration of my hypothesis for presentation at the Great Exhibition. And if that went well, I could expect additional financial support for my research from the British government. Mr. Asman provided me with money and an exceptional engineer. He produced a machine to my precise specifications. But then, your dreams were blown to dust in one enormous explosion. As you can see, I owed everything to Mr. Asman. I would never, ever have thought of taking the man's life.
Oh, he seemed genuine enough. I don't think he's lying. Grr. Grr, 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 grr. What are these psycho locks?
Okay, let's start presenting.
This? We don't really have anything to present him.
Ugh, how could this have happened?
You must feel awful. As well as the man losing his life, the Crystal Tower was greatly damaged too, you buffoon.
I know what happened. It must have been that.
That?
The day before the demonstration, I had my usual meal of frankfurters at the hotel restaurant. When I paid the bill, they gave me 3 shillings, too much in change. But instead of saying anything, I just slipped the coins into my pocket. They're still there now. It's divine retribution for my wrongdoing. That's what this is.
For a scientist, he has some very illogical anecdotes. Long and illogical. Yeah, that actually is very... For him to be superstitious is kind of weird. Not that it's impossible, obviously, I'm sure there's some superstition among the scientific community, but like that's kind of the whole point, is so that we don't have to worry about such things. We don't have anything else to talk to him about yet. If you let your concentration slip, you might miss what people say. Okay. Alright. We didn't really examine a ton in here, did we?
Lord Van Zeek's desk. Look, it's so stylish. And that's a marble chess set beside it.
Chess. That's the Western version of our Japanese shogi game, isn't it?
Or your shogi is simply the Japanese version of our chess.
You know, I'm actually quite good at shogi problems.
Oh, really? You'd probably like chess problems in that case.
I'd love to challenge Lord Van Zeek sometime. A bout of shogi problems.
You only really want to challenge yourself. You can always do that on your own at home.
Look at that fine collection of hallowed chalices and bottles neatly lined up there, or they shall be destroyed soon. My hallowed bottles are filled with the essence of the finest grapes from the finest vineyards I visit. And I personally oversee these chalices being made by the finest crystal craftsmen in the world.
And yet you throw them around in court like they were worthless.
Yes, because this imbecile is so unimaginably and repeatedly wide of the mark sometimes. Okay. Dude. This isn't just an Ace Attorney problem. This isn't just a video game problem. This is a problem in any form of fiction, and it's infuriating. Dude has not lost to you. You have never beaten him. As a prosecutor, he's overcome what at this point? 5 summation examinations? Your insults are hollow. There is no substance behind them. You can say whatever you want. But as far as the court's concerned, Ryunosuke's logic is very good. Yeah, especially for a dude dressed like that, I guess. It's just so... It's just infuriating. Like, give the character their due. I, as the player character, deserve respect against my opponent, whom I've repeatedly beat. It's like people who insist that LeBron James is bad. Overrated. I mean, I guess you can say overrated just depending on, you know, relative to the rating itself. But bad? It's more of an objective term. Not entirely, because it's still relative to the rest of the NBA, right? NBA's history. But, like, it's just people who they just say stupid shit. He's one of those people. He's one of those people. He's one of those people that, even after everything LeBron James, and I don't like LeBron James. And don't get me wrong, I've never been a fan of LeBron James. When you see greatness, time after time, you acknowledge it. He is one of those people that still can't acknowledge it. Just looks like an idiot. Oh! Before you open your mouth next time, you should consider the poor artisans whose work you defile. You're the one who chooses to do it, you numbskull. So, it's my fault. Silly me. How could I ever have thought otherwise?
Oh, look, it's a scale model of the Great Exhibition Showground.
That's amazing. Wonder why it's here.
Perhaps he made it take his mind off the sadness of being too busy to attend in person?
Perhaps he's too embarrassed to queue up for a ticket. Surely it's obvious that I'm using it as an investigative aid. Yeah. Wasn't that obvious?
Ah!
You Nipponese have no business painting others as overly reserved. Oh, I really didn't think he'd overhear that. What, you're like screaming it out loud? Of course he overheard it. That portrait really dominates the room, doesn't it? It's a very majestic outfit and pose, but sadly, whoever painted it didn't do a very good job of capturing Lord Van Zeek's facial features.
Yes, you're right. I mean, it's not far off, but the artist has exaggerated his subject's handsomeness, I think.
Ah, that reminds me. I heard Emperor Napoleon of France ordered artists to make him look more attractive when they painted him.
How vain! That's really not an attractive quality in a person, is it?
That portrait does not depict me. Surely that's immediately obvious. I thought it was. I mean, they kind of look the same, but also not really. Oh, then who is it? Okay, just leave that conversation hanging then. Really looks like a punishment to me.
I've never seen someone sitting like that before.
He hasn't moved a muscle since we arrived. I think perhaps he's dead?
If he was dead, Bruno, he wouldn't be sitting up, would he?
Oh, somebody's never watched anime before. Well, anyway, dead or alive, he's not overly approachable, is he? I don't think he's gonna talk to us.
He's not dead.
What are all those ancient casts lining the wall?
Casts in the Reaper's chamber? Or are they caskets?
You don't think all those people who escaped conviction in Courtroom are lying inside them dead, do you? That was really nice effects. How Iris's like movement was like slowed to like a realization like yeah, it really was. Well, yeah, of course scientists can be superstitious. I acknowledge that. Just weird, considering it goes against their principle and nature. Yeah, they really are. What ridiculous notions are going through your head, man? This is my collection of fine vintages. Oh yes, of course. Thank you for clearing that up.
Bruno and I were just musing to ourselves. Don't mind us, Mr. Reaper.
I wouldn't if you hadn't invited yourselves to my office to talk nonsense within my earshot. It is kinda rude. NGL. Interesting. I don't remember. Vince, about this article in the paper. Ah, yes, it seems there was a reporter nearby when the little skirmish took place. I had no idea I'd been photographed. Who believes this for a second, given the pose that they're doing with each other? Dude 100% knew he was being photographed. Oh, just look off this way. What a fucking liar. I had no idea I'd been photographed. It was careless of me.
Looks as though it's taken after the people who attacked you had run away, though.
Yeah, those candid album covers that are definitely not candid. Look, Cartman sets up that candid picture for his Christian rock album. It's explanations behind why he has them do everything. Oh, classic. Rest assured, the police have already apprehended every last one of them. There's someone else fighting alongside you, it seems. I think it's the same man who's sitting over there as we speak, isn't it? As I mentioned already, he's my apprentice. I don't think this was during that time, Volpe. I think the cameras had advanced a little further past that, where they were faster and you didn't have to like sit there and pose for a super long time for it to work. I think that was probably decades before this. He's my apprentice. Perhaps you could tell us a little more about him? Yeah, that seemed very inviting, all those periods. He's in my tutelage to become a prosecutor. So you could say he's my apprentice, I suppose. That's what you've been saying. I'm not the one who was saying it.
Ah, like you out of hurry then, Reno.
No. don't remember taking an apprenticeship with a great detective, considering I'm, not a detective. He's currently compiling a report about last night's attack. Looks like he's wearing some kind of mask. On Lord Strongheart's orders, nobody knows the man's face or indeed his identity. Why would you agree to take on such a clearly suspicious individual? Lord Strongheart's orders again. He's not one for meaningless follies. There will be a good reason for his actions. I hope you're right. Sup? Ah! The task is complete? Good. In that case, you can collate all the briefs. I'm not even gonna lie. I would love to apprentice like this. That's so badass. Nice to meet you. Okay, back to work again. No, but you should bring it up in the interview. Like, hey, when I work, and when I'm being, guided or whatever, working under someone, I really like to wear a cloak and a mask to denote my status as a person working under another. I hope that's not going to be an issue. Yes and no. That mask would be easier to get adjusted to than a mask covering the bottom of your face. Because, like, no matter how often you cover the bottom of your face, your breathing is still affected to some degree, right? Whereas that's not really an issue here. Like, his sight lines don't look like they're obscured at all. It's just a matter of having something pressed upon your skin constantly. So that might not be super difficult to get used to, but that's just pure speculation because I've never tried doing that. That was really strange, though. Yeah, no shit. Never met the man before. Didn't even know he existed. You still don't really... You know he exists, but... you don't know anything about him. Oh, it didn't feel like our first encounter. So it's somebody we've met before. The whole thing with Cosmo was a setup. He wasn't really dead, and he's the apprentice. My first guess. Ooh. What if that was Gina? That'd be badass. Don't bother trying to converse with him. He says nothing to anybody outside the office. Lord Strongheart has strictly forbidden it. Oh, I see. Gina would make less sense in like an overall plot structure wise, though. That would just be kind of like a cool reveal as opposed to it being like an integral portion. Unless she's somehow involved with everything that's been going on in the background more than we know. A lot of heart. Yeah. There you go. Oh, I see. Aren't you so interested in my apprentice anyways? Oh no, I mean, sorry, I didn't mean to. But he stood there so casually, yet with that flawless posture. It couldn't be. That's... oh, wait, no. That would that can't be Susato. That would be weird. I guess it could be, but again, that would be weird. Kazuma definitely has more of the casual but excellent posture sort of thing going on. Oh yes, there's something I've been meaning to ask you. Oh, what's that? That Nipponese man, is he faring well? Sorry? The one arrested twice in succession 6 months ago. With the stoop, and the mustache, and the jitters. Oh, Mr. Natsume, you mean?
I'm not sure he'd be very pleased to find out you identified him from that list, Runo.
It's a him problem. He's fine, thank you. In fact, I received a letter from him by international post only the other day. I see. Well, I think we can end our discussion there, don't you? There's little time before tomorrow's trial. I advise you to spend it investigating the case. Yes, thank you for the advice, and for the conversation. I couldn't believe he's asking about Soseki-san. After a Nipponese. I'm not sure whether to feel happy about that or worried.
Never imagined that Mr. Reaper would be friends with the mad scientist, did you? That's a turn up for the books.
A mad scientist? Oh, you mean Professor Hairbrain? Yes, it might be worth quizzing the professor about his relationship with Lord Van Zieks, I think. Yo, what's up, Mr. Dominguez? Young Manfred von Karma. And when we saw Manfred von Karma, he was like 100 years old. I believe it. I'd believe it. Okay, so quick question. That's at varsity years. The way we describe varsity in our area is not that way. What do they mean by varsity years? Is that like your first 2 versus your last 2 years? Because for us, the only time varsity was really used as a term was in relation to sports, and it denoted which level of team you were on. Were you on the varsity team, which is like the main high school team, or you could be on JV, or junior varsity team, which is like the feeder into the varsity team. You'd be expected to eventually go into the varsity team. Oh. Okay. Fair enough, I guess. And we don't even... I don't remember using it in college at all. We used it in high school. I understand Lord Van Zieks is a friend of yours from your university days?
Yes, that's right. He was studying law whilst I was studying science.
What was he like back then?
A good question. Unassuming, gentlemanly, an all-around nice fellow, really.
Sorry, I think you misheard me. Let's try that again. I'm talking about the cold-hearted, merciless prosecutor, Barrack Van Zieks. What was he like when he was at university?
Talk about a leading question, Runo.
Yeah, right.
As I said, an unassuming and extremely pleasant gentleman. After all, he is the little darling of the Van Zieks family, with all its great aristocratic origins. I didn't realize he had quite such noble blood.
Little darling?
It was a bit of a shock when I came back to Britain and learnt what he'd become. The Reaper of the Bailey, no less.
Yes, that's right.
I did hear, though, that there was a very big event in his life that completely changed him after graduation.
Really? What sort of event?
Ah! I'm sorry, but I don't know anymore. I wasn't in the country at the time. I was in Germany already.
Oh, yes, of course.
I guess we know who has not been looking at the Discord. I feel slighted. He's heard all about the Reaper. I really don't have the heart to tell him that Lord Van Zeeks would... Whenever I say Lord, I want to say Van. Whenever I say Barrack, I want to say Von. And it's really annoying. Oh, God. Not 70 Celsius. What is that? What is 100? Like 40 something? 48? 49? Maxim's sitting in there with his heater on like, I am only joking. But I am enjoying this heated room. And I'm like, I wish I was enjoying this cooled room. Except my AC is ancient and can't get the house right now below 76. Which doesn't, Fahrenheit, which doesn't sound like it'd be too bad. Like if you went outside, it was 76, you'd be like, oh, this is pretty nice. A little on the warmer side, but you know, this is fine. This isn't uncomfortable. It's very comfortable. However, 76 inside a house is a little different. Stealing? Well, that's not good. Stealing what? TW? I really don't have the heart to tell him that Lord Van Zeeks will be the prosecutor in court tomorrow. So, Professor, let me just make absolutely sure I've understood you properly. The huge explosion that occurred yesterday, that was an accident, you're saying. You had no intent to harm the victim, who was, in fact, the sole investor in your work. Is that correct? As correct as 2 squared is... I read that completely wrong at first, so I just stopped. As correct as 2 squared is 4. I swear it. See, I prefer indoors at like 70. Part of the reason is the cooler it is, the less like heavy the air is, which for me is kind of a big deal because you know, asthma and allergies and all that nonsense make it worse. Yes, it's true that the man perished in a machine of my invention. So I know that I'm far from blameless in all this, but still, I would never use my discoveries, my inventions, to take a person's life. Not in a centillion years. I'm a man of science. It's all I know. You have to believe me, please. Do you believe me? Do you believe in my hypothesis? Science is the pursuit of truth, you know. I've always believed that all my life. I'm afraid I don't know much about science or your theories, but I do believe you, and I will fight to prove your innocence with all my might. I'm a man of the law. It's all I know. You have to believe me, please. When I went to live in Germany after I graduated, I learned something very important. Nationality, class, lineage, none of that matters. As long as you try your hardest, you can achieve anything. Thank you for that, Professor. And thank you in advance for defending me tomorrow in court. All right, Bruno. It's time. Time to visit the Great Exhibition. Sorry. Well, that's where the incident happened, isn't it? Oh. Oh, no. No, that is naughty, naughty, naughty.
That's funny, because, like, my parents would think 74 is, like, scorching. They basically don't know how I'm living right now.
Yes, I suppose that's true. Time to investigate at last.
Well, of course you're my parents. It's what, 50 degrees where you live right now? Yeah, how's your injury faring, Mr. Dominguez? $44. Yeah, that must be nice. That was weird. Had some frame drops. That should not be. Yeah. Well, it's cooler at night than it is during the day, so that makes streaming more viable on these days where it's 99 degrees out. I want to encourage to ask a girl out. So that's a double-edged sword. She could definitely potentially gain the courage, but then she could also make an ass out of herself because she's buzzed. And being a little too loose with the lips. Yeah, I saw some parts of SoCal was 100 plus today. Nah, yeah, that sounds awful. Ugh. Showgrounds are a little too big for my liking. Been walking around in dense crowds for 2 hours now, and I felt myself swooning 3 times.
There are a lot of people, aren't there? I've almost been trodden on 3 times, too.
Be careful, won't you, Iris? Don't let go of my hand. Pilot made it through the throngs, though, by the look of it. Here we are, underneath the public experimentation stage where the explosion happened yesterday. Alright, you guys ready? What's that? I can hear voices from up on the stage. Sounds like an argument. Get ready for the song. No, not that song! Is this Gina's name? Right, I've had it with you this time. I'm warning you, I'll arrest you in a minute.
Oh yeah, go on there, Inspector, give it a shot. You ain't got no evidence, and you know it.
Wait, I know those voices. I know those people. I've seen those faces. You got a cheeky little mouth on you, young lady, but a night in the cells will teach you some manners.
Just try it, I dare ya, if you want that bag of chips ran down your throat. Yoo-hoo! Gregsy, what are you doing up there?
God damn it. Ah! Ah! It's you here. You're here. Here you are, your ladyship. How are you, your ladyship? I do hope you're well, your ladyship. Does that make her 3 times the lady?
I'm not well at all. It's far too busy everywhere. I wanted to ride in a balloon, but there's a 3-hour queue.
Unbelievable. I'll go have a word for you at once, your ladyship. You'll be flying as high as a kite in no time once I pull some strings for you. Tobias Grayson, an inspector at Scotland Yard. Until recently, he was suspended from duty, but it would appear he's back in action now. Oh, were we told that before? I didn't know that. It's actually quite well known, appearing as he does in The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. And for that reason, he can't say a word wrong to the story's author, Iris. There are limits, surely, Or there should be. Watch it, sunshine. Sorry. Yeah, at least if it's not humid, then it's a little better. What gives them? Don't tell me you're on this case. Yes, I'm acting for the defense.
So we're here to investigate.
Dear me, that's the situation, is it? Is it really that troubling?
A measly 5 bob, is that all you got? You're a lawyer, ain't you? You could stand to carry a bit more copper around in your pockets, Mr. Naruto.
What? Hey! That's my last bit of spending money, that is.
That's a bit of my spending money now. You can have it back. But I'll have to charge you for all the bother. 3 bob.
This is Gina Lestrade, a pickpocket, or diver, born and bred in the East End of London. In the case that led to my own suspension 6 months ago, this is the young girl I was defending in court.
What's your problem, Odo? Diver, pickpocket? What's with all the name calling?
He was saying this. He was narrating to himself out loud. Very grounded. I would do the same. You don't bring in my wine collection.
You want a bag of chips rammed down your throat and all, do you?
I feel like I can't get my voice high enough right now. I can't do it for Iris either. I thought you were proud to be a diver, Gina. You were just arguing with Inspector Gregson about it, weren't you? I assume you've been up to your usual tricks here at the showground.
Ain't no way to talk to a lady, Odo. Half a year's a long time. People can change. I'm an apprentice now, learning to be a Scotland Yard detective.
What? Okay, that's actually really fucking cool, and it makes sense that now we have an Inspector Lestrade, considering that's the actual inspector that I am familiar with Sherlock Holmes, although it's a male, but that's a nice twist. Kind of like the saber twist in Fate, where King Arthur was actually a woman.
So you have to call me what everyone else does. It's Inspector Lestrade now.
Inspector? Badge is homemade, surely. The Inspector part isn't entirely accurate, everyone calls it that. What it's worth, anyway. Investigating is off the cards for all of us.
What's that supposed to mean?
Right, well, I'll be back up top. You hold the fort down here, alright?
Right, sir.
This raises a lot of questions. It was her all along. Oh, I must be narrating this out loud. It was 8 months ago now that I first encountered Gina in connection with the case I was working on. Everybody else is like, what are you talking about? At the time, she was living in the East End with a group of other orphans. Why is he telling my life story for? She helped all of them survive by pickpocketing, but then she got embroiled in a murder.
Oi, you shut your trap already? I had a lot of time to think in prison. I realized I couldn't go on like I was. The diving weren't working out. Oh, I'm so pleased to hear it, Ginny. Well done.
So you went from being a pickpocket to a detective?
You got it. Good, isn't it? Inspector Lestrade. Sounds like something out of a book, eh?
Although I will say, interestingly enough, her skill set would be a lot better utilized in a more unofficial capacity, in like a Sherlock Holmes capacity, than as an official but she's more restricted, in theory, at least, as to her actions.
Talk about a sea change. And there's Iris's old man to think about.
Iris's father, you mean?
Yeah, I promised her, didn't I? I said I'd get all the police forces around the world to pull out all the stops looking for him.
We still haven't addressed that yet, have we? Just a small promise, then nothing serious.
Oh, Ginny, you're so sweet. So anyway, that's how I...
Gee, I forgot how hard it was to talk about her.
So anyway, that's how I... So anyway, that's how come I had to go at the test for Scotland Yard. I had to go. So anyway, that's how come I had to go at the test for Scotland Yard. Only trouble is I don't read so well, do I?
Just a small problem. Nothing serious.
And that's when Hurley approached Gregsy and asked for help. But the inspector said he'd take full responsibility for Ginny and make her a sort of apprentice.
And you did not feel the need to tell me this before. Why? That's actually kind of fucked up that they kept me in the dark. Especially since I'm the reason she didn't get, hung for murder.
That was very magnanimous of Inspector Gregson, and brave. Hurley, he enjoys finding ways to make people do what he wants.
Great detective likes digging for dirt, in other words. That's also what Gina would probably be really good at. So, being an inspector is awesome. But at the same time, I'm a little disappointed that it's going to limit her. Because if she was more of a Holmes detective, that shit would be awesome. I would play an entire game of just her being a Holmes detective. That would be awesome.
The long and short of it is, if you got questions about the case, you can ask Inspector Lestrade.
Or even as the Watson character to her Holmes. Sorry, Wilson character to her Holmes.
The long and short of it is, if you got questions about the case, you can ask Inspector Lestrade.
Right then, Inspector. Oh, that's a new look. It's a smirk. I don't remember her having this smirk before. It's a really subtle, you can tell with the eyebrow and the ever so slight smile, curling of the lips. Actually, there's still a big mystery surrounding Gina, isn't there?
Oh, what, Bruno, what?
I'm not talking to you. You didn't tell me that she became a fucking inspector apprentice. Well, 6 months ago, Gina was the defendant in a trial prosecuted by the Reaper. A trial in which she was found not guilty, and yet here she is still, not dead.
Come on, you're still not on about that, are you? The Legend of the Reaper, or whatever it's called.
Cool.
You don't have to worry.
You don't half worry, Odo? Would it be after?
Cool. You don't have to worry, Odo.
If I didn't half worry, there probably wouldn't be a whole lot of you left. So it'd be you don't half-ass blink? Would be similar. Yeah, she was. I want to get the, because I have the other emote where she has her hat off, but I think the hat actually provides a lot of contrast to the rest of her face, being so light. Fair, as you would call it. Later, Halucha. I think I'm gonna have to pull that screenshot at some point.
It's like I told you before, isn't it? Reaper's kinda like I'm up. The Reaper's kinda like him upstairs, so he knows what I'm like on the inside. That I ain't really done nothing wrong.
Now that's smug, Gina. Nothing wrong might be a stretch. Might be stretching a point.
What about Mr. Natsume in Japan? He's perfectly fine, isn't he?
Well, that's true. Perhaps the Reaper is more discerning than I thought.
Exactly, so I ain't worried, I'm totally fine. Cool, it was out of this world, what it was. Brainy bloke pulled a bunch of levers on its machine, and suddenly it started billowing smoke. Then it just went pop. I ain't seen a better experiment here yet.
Sorry?
You mean you saw it, Jenny? With your own eyes? Yeah, of course. The boss in charge here, ain't he? Keeping everything running smooth, I mean.
Boss being Inspector Gregson, I suppose? That's gonna take some getting used to.
So all I have to say is that I'm on duty, and I can do whatever I want to. Get this! I was up in one of them flying balloons when it happened, watching it from above. No! You're so lucky, Ginny. Maybe I should join Scotland Yard too. Yeah, do it. You know, I would have put the boss in his place already, right, Iris? You'd have no trouble at all.
I think it fits her new step up. But it's still like her, right?
And it's settled. When do I start?
No. You can't join Scotland Yard, Iris.
We'll see. Anyway, what I don't understand is this. If the machine exploded so spectacularly, how can Professor Bunnybrain still be claiming that his experiment was a success? Oh, right. Well, it was a success in a way.
It was? How can it have been? Surely after the whole machine blew up, no one could call the experiment a success.
Just like I said, it did sort of work. I mean, yeah, there was a load of smoke and that whopping great bang. Where did you think they found the victim's body, eh? In the crystal tower over there.
What? In the tower?
You can see for yourself, can't you? Up there above the scaffold. Oh, were all the glasses broken, you mean?
Well, okay, so it did materialize, but not as a living being any longer.
Yeah, the cage what the victim got in was to start with. Really did get beamed through the air, whatever, and landed all the way over there. So you see, it did kind of work, didn't it?
What? I don't believe it.
I mean, I don't get the ins and outs of it. I don't get the ins and outs of it, but anything's possible, right? With science.
Suddenly Gina's sounding like the ancestor of a certain pink glasses wearing wannabe forensic scientist that we know.
Well, I tell you what, you can add this. It's a plan of the experiment they drew up at the yard.
Are you sure?
Yeah, go on. I had 3 bob off you before, so fair's fair.
Yes, I didn't actually give that to you, did I? Something Inspector Grayson said before seemed a little strange. What is the Butt Sky bloodline? Oh, Lord.
Yeah, it's perfectly safe for non-living things. beam a desk over there. The desk would be perfectly fine. Yes, naughty old Gracie ran off after that without explaining himself. Oh, right, that. The boss said no one's allowed to investigate that weird machine what blew up yesterday. Well, that's not fair. We're representing the defendant. Yeah, that's actually horseshit. And the prosecution would be in gigantic trouble. The police would be in gigantic trouble for not allowing that sort of discovery to occur. So this is maybe realistic at that time, not realistic now. In that case, could you at least tell us what you've learned from your investigations? Nah, you're not getting it. We ain't allowed to investigate neither. Why? What did the boss call it again? The forensic investigation team, I think. Anyway, apart from them lot, no one's allowed to lay a finger on the scene. But funny, isn't it? A bit funny, isn't it? So even Scotland Yard's own detectives can't investigate. I've never heard something like that before. I could have began down the quiet though, but the boss caught me on it. At it. Probably heard him giving me an earful about it before from down here, didn't you? It's not bleeding fair.
Okay, so this actually would be okay in terms of if we had a normal timeline for a trial, the forensics team checks it, then we check it. That's actually not a problem. The issue is that we know the trial's tomorrow, so we don't have time to wait for the forensics team.
I think you were giving him as much of an earful back as I remember it. Yeah, well, sometimes I think it's all them chips what make him so stubborn. That cholesterol building up in his arteries. You say something to him, Odo? You say something to him, Odo. Go on, see if you can change. I can talk as Gina. I can talk as Gina. I can talk as Gina. You say something to him, Odo. Go on, see if you can get through to him. He's up on the platform above us, is he? Where that machine that exploded is? We can try, can't we, Rudo? Crazy will listen to us. Thank you very much for your time, Gina. You are super cool. Oh, do I have to... What is this? Oh, look, what's this? A ripped piece of cloth. It's not like any fabric I've ever seen before. It's very thick and stiff. It's extremely durable. It's canvas, I think. Some sort of rubber backing. The edges appear to be a bit charred as well. That means it had something to do with the explosion. Let's make a note of it while Jenny's mid-yawn. Ah, it looks as though somebody dropped something behind the tree just there. Dropped or hid? What is this? Some part of the machine that exploded? It's not hidden very well. We're just kind of casually here and we see it. Maybe. Could it fall from the platform above in the blast, perhaps? What's going on here? Oh, nothing. I think I'll hang on to this, just in case. What? Behind your back? In that fucking bottomless black hole RPG pocket you must have? Where everything shrinks to fit in it? How are you just hiding that from her? That's where the cove ended up after his instant kinesis, or whatever they called it. Dead, of course. And yet they're calling the experiment a success? What's the wooden scaffold there for? Coppers, our lads. Set that up after the incident happened. I like that. She still says coppers as her slang, but then she has to correct herself to remind herself that she is a part of that force now. To get the body down, I think. No, really. Did you help to erect the scaffold then? Nah, knockout duty's more my thing. Wandering around the exhibition and keeping a lookout for the fun stuff. Mind Gregson doesn't hear you saying that, or he'll give you the boot. Incredible, though, isn't it? I mean, could the victim really have bridged the gap by some sort of invisible kinesis?
Villain is in line like, God damn it! I want to build. I want to destroy Crystal Tower, but I can't even get into damn place. Blasted cues.
These stairs obviously lead to the stage above. We should go up there and investigate the exact spot where the experiment was being conducted.
That is a fucking death ray. So that's it, is it? The machine that blew up?
Oh, it must have been a magnificent explosion. I've seen my fair share.
Seen things like this before, you mean?
Of course, Early's always doing experiments that end in a bang. Back to his own words, explosions are the very essence of chemistry.
Ah, that might explain the smell of burning that frequently comes wafting up the stairs. You don't hear the bang?
One time you made something that exploded with such force it took the roof off the building. I wish you'd been there to see it, Runo.
Hard to get too excited about that, given that I now live in the roof.
Well, anyway, that's enough about that. It's time to investigate.
Ah, look, Inspector Gregson is over there. Seems to be deep in thought about something while he's eyeing up the machine carefully.
Really? Just looks confused to me.
There it is. Been waiting for it this whole time. Bum, bum, bum. Da-da-da. It tripped itself. It ripped itself apart magnificently, didn't it?
Magnificently and mercilessly.
So someone stands in the middle of the machine to be disassembled and then beamed through the air.
Yes, beamed, not blasted. That's the point.
Yes, that part's crucial, really. Something like that even possible, though, Iris?
Bruno, I'm like 10 years
That's exactly what I was thinking, like, Reno, I'm like 10. Why the fuck would I know the answer to that? Child when it suits you, you mean? That's also true.
From what I can tell,
I think if you're up, stop! Don't touch that.
Ah, that was practically instantaneous kinesis the way you flew over just now, Gregsy.
Please, your ladyship, I didn't mean to startle. I didn't mean to startle you, but I can't let you touch anything up here.
So sorry, you can have some of my latest special blend to make up for it.
Ah, wonderful. This stuff really is wonderful.
It's just like old times, this is.
We're representing Professor Hairbrain in court tomorrow, Inspector, so we should be allowed to examine the scene. Ha! Listen, Sunshine, I'm not even allowed to touch anything up here. It's that blasted Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act to blame. It's driving me potty.
Oh, yes, that special dispensation. The professor mentioned that too.
More red tape's all we need. I don't know what the government thinks it's playing at sometimes. They said it. I've been waiting for 1 1/4 game for somebody to ask what they are playing at. perhaps my favorite Britishism.
Congratulations!
We're allowed to just look, aren't we?
Ugh.
Jelly, that's alright. Isn't it, Gregsy?
Of course, your ladyship. Anything you say, your ladyship. But please don't get your dainty hands dirty, will you?
Don't worry. We wouldn't dream of touching anything, would we, Bruno?
She really knows how to get what she wants. Well, from one dude. Bum bum. Bum bum. Ba-na-na-na-na. Bum bum. Ba-na. Nothing particular of note? Then, oh. Considering how badly damaged everything is, Professor Harebrain was lucky to escape unscathed, I'd say. Should have a good look around the machine while you can, I think. Touch anything, I'll make sure I kill you before I get strung up myself, you hear? God damn! I won't touch a thing, I promise, so please, spare a thought for your digestion. Anyway, do you really think this machine could actually disassemble people like the professor claims? Yes, looking totally incredulous. Give it a rest, sunshine. If we were allowed to examine all this bleeding scrap metal, maybe we could answer that question. But we can't, can we?
Because of the annoying rules, you mean?
Exactly, that annoying, obstructive, flaming rules.
Oh, look at the base of the machine there. Oh yes, there's a tool of some kind poking through the wire mesh.
It's a screwdriver, I think.
Oh, isn't it a lovely one? The handle is in the shape of a capital letter A.
It is? Oh, yes, you're right. What's the matter with you? Don't touch anything, I said. Touch anything and I'll make sure I kill you before I get strung up myself, I said.
Yes, I understand. Sorry, I only touched a teeny weeny bit. Look, Gregsy, I'm very curious about this screwdriver. Really very, very curious.
Of course, your ladyship. You're so clever, your ladyship. Fancy spotting something like this. But I'm afraid I can't let you have it.
But Runo found it first.
I assure you, I'll investigate it thoroughly. He's gone off with it.
That was very mean. I'm afraid Inspector Gregson is going to make a very clumsy and embarrassing mistake in next month's installment now.
Oh, the petty. Oh, the petty. On 100,000 trillion. Poor Gregsy. I actually think he's been quite, accommodating, considering. Hi, Wolfheart. What's that gigantic thing over there? It looks like an enormous water wheel.
Oh, that's a Ferris wheel. There will be people riding inside those little cabins you can see.
Why?
Well, they rotate nice and slowly, so it's a wonderful way to see the surrounding scenery.
Wait, it's turning? But it looks completely still.
Yes, that's because it's turning so slowly. One complete revolution takes about half an hour.
So that shit's freaky, by the way. I had never seen, because I know this is isn't that the specific one? The London Eye? Is that what it's called? Like their famously big Ferris wheel? So most of our Ferris wheels are really small, and you can see them turning. It's very, like, obvious. But that Ferris wheel in Vegas, that thing is, I think it's not as big as the London Eye, but it's a little smaller, but it's still like almost as big. And it did not look like it moved. That shit, they're like, oh no, it's moving. I was like, you're bullshitting me. We went on it. It was really cool. It was really cool. Let's see, do I still have my cringe-ass evil mastermind picture on the computer? I know I still have it. I just don't remember if I have it on the PC. Oh, no, it's not on here. Ah, it sucks. Oh, maybe it's on my laptop. Anyways, that shit was cool. I'm not generally a fan of Ferris wheels, but if you can find one that big, you should go for it. Because it is really fun. The London ear. The Millennium Wheel. So, I guess this one's just a thing then, right? Can it send people to the Shadow Realm? Devin's trying to like build up this narrative and Dog just jumps to the end. Oh, dog.
Yes, that's because it's turning so slowly. One complete revolution takes about half an hour.
You were mad enough to go on one. It would be more fun to whiz around fast, don't you think? No. No. It would not be.
Feels though you might have just invented a new sort of ride there, Runo.
Oh, the eye's monochrome. Okay, interesting. I don't think I've ever seen like a good picture of it. I've seen it in like anime, but it's never like animated in super detail. Just enough that you can tell what it is, but it's, you don't really, you know, it's not the focus of the scene. Well, what about the London nose then? London nostril? London lips? London mouth. There you go. There it is. Or perhaps it's just the London eyelash. It was but a lash before. Now it is an entire eye. It was in the intro. I have no memory of the intro of this show. But yeah, I've seen it. I vaguely remember the theme, but I don't remember the visuals. I'm gonna have to rewatch that show soon. I always want to, and then I go like, oh yeah, those episodes are like an hour and a half long. Shit. There are all sorts of strange buildings here in the Great Exhibition Grounds, aren't there? I seem to remember something similar being exhibited in Japan one time.
Oh, in your country, Runo? I do wish I could go and see it. I'd present particularly steely samurai.
I was looking for a point to go get something real quick. I will take this point to go do that. I will be back. I think that's one it's an aspect I don't hear about streaming and doing like the voice acting that I've never heard anybody talk about it, but I actually think it's really fun. And that is if I'm streaming and just reading the dialogue, and then, you know, especially with the voice acting, those sort of situations come up where it's like I have like surprised realization. That can happen when you're just kind of reading it in your head as well, but like for me at least, when I'm reading something in my head, my mind catches up to it a lot more often, or a lot quicker, I should say, and that makes it less impactful. Like if I were just reading this in my head, if I was just playing this on my own, I was just reading this in my head, it probably wouldn't have caused me to pause for as long and actually think, it would be like, wow. It just makes it more impactful to do it that way, which is a benefit to playing a game in this fashion. Is that your winter food of choice, dog? When it's cold, I like to sit by the fire and eat some nice mixed veggies. That's how we do it here in Maine. Or I should say, that's how us Illinoisan transplants do it here in Maine. Anyways, I have to redo this line now.
I present a particularly steely samurai with a great present.
Wait, why did I add great there?
I'd present a particularly steely samurai with the present of one of Hurley's stories I'd written especially. And see if I can get Hurley into a jam against some Bartitsu master ninjas.
You might not find as many of those sorts of people around as you think.
Oh, well that's dull.
Oh, but I do know a prosecutor with a... every time I see that word, I'm like, can I pronounce that? Yes. But I do know a prosecutor with a chonmage top knot I could introduce you to.
A chonmage? Really? Do you think I could have my picture taken with him, do you?
Assuming he's recovered from the trim Kazuma gave him a year ago. Yes. Well, somebody's gonna be in for a bit of a disappointment. That amazing horn-shaped device is pointing towards the Crystal Tower. I suppose once people are disassembled by the machine, they're shot out of that thing to wherever they're going.
I don't think it was supposed to shoot anything, Runo. It's set up to beam people to the Crystal Tower where they'd be reconstructed in their original forms.
Well, I don't like the look of it. I'm telling you, it's just a death ray. That whole thing's in front. If it wasn't as amazing as it looks, the accident would have happened in the first place, of course.
I suppose that's true, yes.
But nothing ever goes according to plan, does it? So those are people carrying balloons dangling silently in the skies over London. I always thought the day would come where humans would discover how to fly, but I never imagined it would involve them being suspended from colorful floating Temari handballs. Temari handballs.
I'm sure it must feel amazing being up there amongst the clouds. Let's take a ride together, Runo, please.
If I'm being perfectly honest, I would like to try. But without a cast iron guarantee that the thing wouldn't plummet to the ground, I'm too scared.
Oh well, in that case I should tell you what Hurley said. It's physically impossible for a flying balloon to plummet to the ground, as long as it doesn't explode.
Yes, call me crazy, but I think that exploding part may play on my mind just a little bit. Bum, bum, bum. I mean, if there's one way to make old-timey things look good, It's to put a handlebar mustache on somebody and have them like in cool poses. Be like, oh, that looked awesome.
Using high voltage electricity to somehow disassemble a man's body, then beam him across to the Crystal Tower. It's an extraordinary thing to attempt, especially in public.
True. It was by far the most unusual of the experiments planned for the exhibition's mind.
To be honest, I'm a bit surprised it was allowed. Carrying out something so dangerous with so many spectators present,
The government's doing everything it can to promote new science and technology at the moment. They're more worried about being ahead of the game than the odd spot of public safety infringements. If they can be the first to develop some new technology, it makes Britain more powerful in the future, you see.
Yes, I suppose that's true, in a way.
The powers that be are placing a heavy emphasis on scientists' rights at the moment.
What sort of rights?
They're making it so that in any theories the brains have remained their legal property, as it were. They're legal of their intellects, so to speak. By true developing it into a practical idea and even going into production. Which is the infuriating reason us couples aren't allowed to touch the crime scene. Because the new highfalutin Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act forbids it. I see now. Only people with permission to investigate here are from some brand new department at the yard. A forensic investigation team, it's called. We've been relegated to keeping guard.
Forensic investigation team.
Any fool can see that this heap of scrap metal was a sham to begin with.
I don't think that how things work here, but I'm not 100% sure. Even if you have a patent or something's top secret, if it's a crime scene, you can't keep the police from investigating it. Just because there's a patent on it.
Just because it says scientific equipment on the paperwork, we can't do a flaming thing with it.
Oh, Gregsy, he's very head up, isn't he?
That's crazy. Fuck that.
Remind me again, what's this new legal act that means we're not allowed to touch the scene here?
Are you having me at it, Sunshine? It's the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act.
Yes, I think I mentioned that recently. The real twinkle in his eye, as I remember.
I'm sure he did, your ladyship. I'm sure he did. Passed especially for this great exhibition it was. All scientists have to do is present their ideas or inventions to some suits in the civil service. And if it gets rubber stamped, that's a guarantee of rights to maintain the invention's confidentiality.
What's that really mean?
Think about it. Think about all the world-changing new inventions on display every day at this exhibition. Although a good half of them are a load of cobblers, if you ask me, put forward by shammers like yourself.
Thanks for that. What makes me a shammer? Nothing. Stupidity on Gregson's part. Just dumb. Oh, I love how absurd some of the inventions here are. It's also fun.
Might be fun to you, but a member of the force has to be present in every single demonstration. Can you imagine that? Dang science, that's what I say.
You know, without science, you wouldn't have your fucking your artificially created pocket dimension that you can store an infinite amount of chips in.
Oh, I don't think so. That sounds like my dream job.
You'd still think otherwise after spending a day guarding all these shammers' bogus contraptions.
But if they're all bogus, how can anyone hope to demonstrate them? There'd be no point.
Yeah, well, there is a point, sadly.
Sorry?
Thanks to another of our government's bright ideas, any theory or invention is deemed to show potential. The government hands out a research grant.
Scientists get funding?
Exactly. And that's what they're all after. All these shammers coming from far and wide to clog up Hyde Park. Who has to keep them all safe, eh? Who has to smile politely and welcome them? Us coppers, that's who. So you can see why I say it now, can't you? Hang science, hang it.
Oh, maybe I can see your point. Apparently, Professor Harebrain lives and works in Germany now, conducting his research.
That's right. Came back to Britain especially for the Great Exhibition, as I understand it. Probably after one of the government's research grants.
Actually, we learned something else about the professor earlier today, about his time in further education. Turns out he was at university with someone we both know, Lord Van Zeeks.
Oh, what's that? That's news to me. But if Van Zeeks mans the prosecution, then as the accused, the professor's fate is
sealed, because the Reaper will get him one way or another. Well, Gina's down there alive and well.
Blimey, that man's beyond me. I don't know what goes on in that head of his. Talking of Van Zeeks, this morning's paper ran the story of him being attacked. Read that?
Oh yes, but Mr. Reaper's completely fine. Nothing to worry about.
Yeah, right. Glad to hear it. Still, the Reaper, huh? How long's that business gonna keep up, I wonder?
The victim of this case, the investor, Mr. Asman, he was another of the Reaper's victims, or so I heard.
Lord Berg von Zeeks is a top-class prosecutor, but even he can't always push the right verdict through. Sometimes justice can't win.
Yes, I've heard about jurors being bribed and evidence being falsified. And that's how the notion of the Reaper of the Bailey came about, isn't it?
Obviously, Scotland Yard suspected Van Zeeks initially. We all assumed he was taking matters into his own hands if he failed to seal the deal in court.
Although the man himself denies that charge.
Well, we've done a very thorough investigation. The conclusion we reached: that Lord Van Zeeks is in no way related to the deaths of those people outside the courtroom. There's no question in my mind. I'd stake my reputation on it, I would.
If that's true, then how do you explain it? All those defendants couldn't just have coincidentally died if nobody killed them.
I know that, but I can't explain it. It's a mystery after all, ain't it? That's the whole point of the Reaper.
Professor Harebrain mentioned something else. He said that at university, Lord Van Zeeks was a totally different person, easygoing and kind.
You what?
He said that it was after they both graduated that something happened to change the man. Do you have any idea what it was?
No clue.
Really?
Look, I've got my hands full watching over this frustrating crime scene. Why don't you go and make a nuisance of yourself elsewhere, eh? Right. Are you done here, Mr. Naruto?
Sorry?
Isn't it about time you were leaving? Or rather, it is about time you were leaving. That lot right here now.
That lot?
Forensic investigation team. Or FIT, as I call them. They'll be giving me the Evo in a minute, too.
Oh dear, poor Gregsy. Here, have another cup of my special blend to cheer you up.
Aha! Ain't the spot? Yep, it's every time.
Well, at least I've seen the scene with my own eyes. Looks like this is as far as we're going to get with our investigation here, at least.
I've been thinking. Ellie might know something, mightn't he?
About what?
About Mr. Reaper.
About what happened to Lord Van Zeeks, you mean? It sounds like something very significant occurred after he graduated from university. Something that completely changed his life. Maybe, but I have no idea where to find Mr. Sholmes at the moment. He's in the middle of some big case, isn't he?
Here, this is what you need.
What's this? Some kind of entrance ticket? Damn tusk spells? Is this supposed to mean something to me?
You don't know it? It's the most popular attraction in London at the moment. It's very close to Baker Street, actually. We could go now if you like.
No, we don't have time for visiting attractions today, Iris. We have a big trial tomorrow.
That's where Hurley is.
What? At this popular London attraction?
Yes.
How is that you know where he is?
Hurley told me. He told me to keep it a secret from you, Bruno.
And them tusk spells? I don't see how it could be related to the case we're investigating here, but then stranger things have happened. And when they happen, Mr. Sholmes is usually at the heart of them. Dun 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 dun. Ba-bum, ba-bum. I think we're supposed to believe so.
Just listen to this theme all day. What is this place? Look at all these terrifying scenes. Why are all the people so still? Guillotines, ruthless murders? No, what I'll be dreaming about tonight. A wax museum?
They're all wax models. They're amazingly realistic, aren't they? What do you think, Reno? Shocked?
Ooh, X models? Ah! Hi, Wolfhard. I read about dead bodies in wax once in a magazine about strange phenomena. Depending on how corpses are kept after death, parts of them can turn into wax, apparently. It's called I don't know what that is. Adipocere? Adipocere? I'm not sure what that is.
Stop talking about creepy things like that, Bruno. You're scaring me. Anyway, adipocere doesn't form readily, you know.
Ah!
What now?
I've just remembered something else I read. In the magazine about strange phenomena. There was an old lady who lived in a shoe, maybe a witch, who used to pour molten wax over corpses and put them on display.
None of the exhibits in here are real. Stop being a moron. They're all entirely man-made replicas.
They can't be. Do you really expect me to believe that? Just look at them.
Oh! There's no way
Anybody can make models of people that are this realistic. And they're all in such gruesome scenes. Wait.
What is it?
Oh no, I must be seeing things. Is that exactly who you're looking for? Why are you saying oh no? So is that Jack the Ripper? It's funny, this is the same scarf that one dude was wearing. Is this an arm?
Looks like an arm, doesn't it? Maybe one of the waxwork models has fallen over.
You don't think it could be the work of one of the mass murderers in here, do you?
Bruno, stop scaring me!
Is it a wax arm or a real one?
Come on, you're always pointing that finger of yours in court. Point that arm now and see how it feels. Poke that arm out and see how it feels.
Objection! That's funny. This guy has a... Oh no, you actually can't see it. He looks older, I was gonna say. That big heavy curtain is in a very prominent position, isn't it? I have a nasty feeling there's going to be something terrifying behind it.
Oh yes, that's the famous Tussville special exhibit. It depicts one of England's most notorious killers. Want to pay the extra fee and have a look?
Pay more money to be even more terrified? Oh, let me think about that for a moment.
It's only a suggestion. Be an asshole.
I have no idea with Madame Tussauds? I have no idea what that is. Is it a famous wax museum? Tussauds. So to spell. Where is it? Because I'm not familiar with it. Is this some infamous murder?
Yes, called Jane the Ripper. All victims were young women.
I knew it. Did you You can tell by the way she's holding that knife. Sure sign of a murderer.
Oh, yes.
Ah!
What's the matter, Runo?
I've worked it out. I know what she's doing. She's trying to fill that bathtub with blood so she can have a soak in her victim's gore.
Not according to the information about the exhibit.
Oh, so it's like a chain of museums. I see. Well, that isn't Ripley's Believe It or Not kind of like that? Yeah, interesting. I'll have to check one out. I think wax museums are interesting. I've just never been to one. It seemed like it'd be cool if you mistook someone for, if it was like that blurred in reality, then it sounds pretty awesome. When did it lag? Because it does look like something happened. Because before I had like a few drop frames, and now I have 0 again, which would only have happened if the stream ended. Okay, well I'll go back and do that. These models are so well made I can't tell what's a waxwork and what's a real human.
Well, maybe all the exhibits are real people. And when it's closing time and all the visitors have gone home, they suddenly start moving about. And not at the museum.
Just thinking about it makes me wish it was closing time already and I was on my way home. Closing time. Time for us wax sculptures to begin to move around freely. Is this some infamous? Is this some infamous murder? Yeah. So for those that didn't catch it on Discord or didn't see the community post, today and tomorrow, like 100 degrees, which here. 100 degrees and humid, which is utterly insufferable. Not only that, but we have a really old AC, central AC unit. It's central AC. It works, but it doesn't have the ability to actually get down to where we would like it to be. For example, we have it set at 72 right now. It cannot get below 77. That is a problem. And this is the hottest room in the house when I'm streaming because of how hot that the PC is. Light on me, all that stuff. So it makes for a very uncomfortable experience when it's 100 outside and I'm trying to stream. Right now, we're like 80 something outside. So now the house got down to like 73 or something. That's fine. I can do that. But on those days where it's 100, I cannot stream right now until we get a new AC unit. Like I have to stream, either cancel the stream or stream at night. They decided we'd stream at night and remove these 2 streams today and tomorrow since I'm not gonna be streaming tomorrow either with that heat. He's infamous. I haven't seen that movie in a long time. Watch that again. I was thinking about it the other day. I was watching the episode of The Office where they throw that Oscar that welcome back party. It's like, Oscar, does this remind you of back home? And then Oscar's like, it actually reminds me more of the Three Amigos with Chevy Chase, Steve Martin. And he's like, and Michael's like, thank you. That means a lot to me. It's, whew. Yeah, that sounds fucking awful. That sounds absolutely terrible. I am deathly afraid that our ancient this AC has been here since we moved in here, 2017. The inspector said It's still, as long as it still works, run it into the ground. The problem with running it into the ground is that at some point it will get run into the ground, and I really hope it's not during a day where it's 100 degrees outside, because we will be abandoning the house temporarily. So it's gonna happen. I just hope it's not on a bad day for it to happen, because it's old, really old. Like, it's already past what he thought it'd be. He guessed it only lasts another 2 years. Still going. There's no sign of it being faulty, other than it just can't get things as cold as it could before. Like, there's no weird sounds or anything coming out of it. It's not struggling to run. People are gaslit into liking summer. That's probably true here, just because winter sucks. Like, there are good things and bad things about every season. Winter sucks because I fucking hate snow. People suck in the snow in terms of, like, driving. And wind chill is fucking terrible. Summer, on the other hand, when it's humid, especially because it's humid here, it's difficult to even breathe outside. Sun's beating down on you, you're sweating all over the place. What's so great about that? Fall's probably my favorite season too. So we rake. So, like, raking's kind of a pain in the ass, but one thing I don't have to do is clean the gutters because we have a gutter guard. So at least I don't have to go up and do that. So that's one major annoyance I don't have to worry about. No, I thought 45 was like 100 or something. Isn't it? I thought Trep said he was at 47 the other day. If you could have winter without snow, I would like it significantly better. Absolutely. That's great. The snow is the worst part of winter. Maybe Trep said 37. Oh yeah, 113. Yeah, I thought Trep said 47, but what he said was likely 37. That makes a lot more sense. In terms of, like, the way he was talking about it. I knew it! You can tell by the way she's holding that knife. Sure sign of a murderer.
Well, yes.
Ah!
What's the matter, Runo?
I worked it out. I know what she's doing. She's trying to fill that bathtub with blood so she can have a soak in her victim's gore.
Not according to the information about the exhibit on that little board over there. Doesn't mention anything about the bathtub.
Really?
Sorry, I don't think it's significant.
I still think it has to be there for a reason. Oh, it has to be there for a reason. Otherwise, it's fucking pointless, and it was a waste of space. Oh, that's... Okay, so did you guys... Were you all here for this?
These models are so well made, I can't tell what's a waxwork, what's a real human. They're all waxworks.
Or maybe all the exhibits are real people. And when it's closing time and all the visitors have gone home, they suddenly start moving about.
Thinking about it makes me wish it was closing time already and I was on my way home.
Oh, that's a funny place for a little ladder.
It's a step ladder.
What is it? Is something wrong?
No, it's just that in Japanese we have a totally different word for a ladder that folds in half like that.
We do in English too, you know. It's a step ladder, or just steps. Be careful of making assumptions about other cultures, Bruno. That's how wars are started.
I didn't realize stepladders were an international point of contention. The writer makes an astute point. That's really funny. Ugh. Is this an example of Western tsujigiri?
I don't know if that word is.
Yes. I'm just like, why would she know what that is? Oh,
I don't know what that is.
No. When an unscrupulous samurai randomly attacks a passerby to test his sword?
oh yeah, just common knowledge.
I still don't know. No, that sounds absolutely ridiculous. But actually, a waxwork samurai would probably be hugely popular. Could you model it? Do you think, Bruno? Doing that Tsujigiri thing you mentioned?
Dude did just stroke himself, right? Oh yes, what an astute point. Oh.
Yeah, is this gonna be on the test?
I don't know what Night Slash is. Sorry. Old-timey Gen 1er here. Not that I think it's the best, just that's really all I know. That's not true. I know 1, 2, and 3. I know 1 a lot, and 2 and 3 kind of, but well, really only 1 playthrough each. I think those are generally more well known than the Tsujigiri. So it would surprise me a little bit. That's some deep knowledge. That'd be some deep knowledge. Yeah, the Morse code one's probably the most obscure of the... A chunk mage knot. Stop. I hope that was intentional. Fucking chonk mage. That's what you should call the Japanese prosecutor, specifically Ouchie from now on. It's that fucking chonk mage. Chonk mage. Oh god. Chonmage. Well, I do have a sword, but I've no intention of testing how sharp it is on a human subject. For now, at least. It's the great detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Mr. Sholmes has his own wax statue in here? Really?
Well, he is well famous after all.
You two cannot be this pathetically stupid.
It's an uncanny resemblance, isn't it? Makes my skin crawl to look at it. I know.
Especially since you know he's supposed to be here.
She has to know, right? So she's about to troll him super hard. Because Iris is big brain.
Look, Runo, you can kick this Hurley and he doesn't move a muscle.
He's just like... Oh.
Can't go around kicking the exhibits, Iris.
Wait.
It's...
It just moved, I'm sure. Not just a little bit either.
Really? Did it?
And look closely. There are beads of sweat on the face of this waxwork model. Shall we move on, Iris? Over there, look, there's a great murder scene to enjoy. Much more appealing.
My dear fellow, I take exception to your recoiling in such a manner, as if you'd seen something truly abhorrent.
It's Mr. Sholmes. I knew it.
I knew it.
Iris, what possessed you? I strictly forbade you from divulging my temporary waxwork secret to Mr. Naruhodo.
Temporary waxwork? What do you mean?
In that kick, could you not have exercised a little more restraint? You witnessed me.
But Runo has something he needs to ask you.
Ah, a question? Oh, so dude's job is to stand there and be a wax sculpture? Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Okay.
Ah, a question.
I thought you'd probably be getting bored too. So here we are.
Well, can't deny that your timing was impeccable. Mere 2 minutes more being stationary like that, and my great brain, upon which all my success has been built, would have turned to wax.
Thank goodness we arrived in time.
Indeed, in many ways the pair of you just saved the world from an unimaginable loss.
Oh, Hurley, you do like to talk nonsense, don't you? You vain bastard.
He could know something, it's true, about Lord Van Zeeks and what happened in the past to change it.
Now that you're here, let's take our time. How can I be of assistance? For your luck, I'm suddenly quite taken with the idea of conversing.
Oh, well, actually, I'm quite in a hurry.
If my eyes don't deceive me, I believe something is afoot within the walls of this very museum. A most fascinating case, if I'm not mistaken.
Really?
Moreover, I have a strong suspicion that it is related to the matter about which you've come to me now.
But how could it be?
We shall speak again presently, my dear fellow. But for now, I must return to my work.
What, back to being a temporary waxwork exhibit? Fucking pose. Oh, man. There you go.
Tsujikirium.
What is this place?
Madame Two-Spells came to London from France 3 years ago, I understand. Since she opened this little waxwork museum last year, it's enjoyed great popularity in London. There are museums like this in Japan, too.
But these displays are... there are museums like this in Japan, too, but these displays are something else. I mean, they aren't made from actual real people, are they?
The extreme realism of these waxworks models is a particular secret of the Two-Spells family, they say. They earned renown during the French Revolution for waxworks of victims of the guillotine.
Ugh, that sounds grim.
The gruesome scenes were portrayed with such realism in the expression of the faces of the condemned.
Apparently, the sculptures would make the models directly from the corpses, right there at the site of the execution.
That really turns my stomach.
That's just one of several legends about the Toothspills family. Whether there's any truth to it, I couldn't say. But anyway, the museum houses models of famous people from all over the globe. Nevertheless, the most popular area of the museum, by quite some margin, is this House of Horrors.
House of Horrors?
Of course, visitor numbers are dwindling now as a result of the Great Exhibition. People usually flock here to see the exhibits of some of London's most vile criminals at their gruesome work.
Whoops. Whoopsies. Accidentally closed the chat. Did not mean to do that. There we are. Now we're back to where we were before.
Yes, the House of Horrors. Isn't that what we all want? Who wants a horror? But people usually flock here to see the exhibits of some of London's most vile criminals at their gruesome work. And naturally, most of the miscreants portrayed here were sent to the gallows. But they're even stiffer now than the models of them.
Have you heard of poor taste?
My dear fellow, the public live for poor taste. They yearn to be shocked.
That's not a lie. So the hideous exhibits in here are...
They're all portrayals of real events that actually took place.
Is it just me, or did the temperature in here just seem to drop? For you, not for them, obviously.
Anyway, I advise you not to think too deeply about what you see here.
Oh, he's back to being a waxwork, is he? What do you mean by temporary waxwork, Mr. Sholmes?
Exactly what you see. I'm part of the exhibits here, catching these criminals in the act.
Catching them?
Every half an hour, I home in on a different killer in one of the displays and adopt a new pose to ensnare him. When the members of the public come for a closer look, I offer them my hand to shake. For a shilling, I'll happily allow them to take a photograph with us.
Us? Does he mean him and the waxwork murderers in here? But why, Mr. Sholmes?
My dear fellow, isn't it obvious? For the money.
You really roared at me there. Very fitting for the House of Horrors.
As it stands, I may struggle to pay this month's rent, and I have the ravenous iris to consider.
Oh, Hurley, I'm so hungry.
If push comes to shove, I shall have to ask you to do your bit, Mr. Naruhodo.
Threatening? What's he threatening to rope me into now? Rope you into paying your rent? That's not roping you, it's what you should be doing. Ungrateful prick.
So, with that in mind, how about a photograph? As a special treat, you may have your pick of the murderers and scoundrels in here. The choice is yours.
Maybe some other time.
Remember, Mr. Naruhodo, ignore me at your peril.
Back to being a waxwork again. Is it just me, or did his final remark there sound a lot like a curse? He doesn't want to be tethered by the police force. He wouldn't be able to do things his way.
Well, what is it you'd like to ask me then?
Actually, it's about Lord Van Zeeks.
Ah, our friend Mr. Reaper. How did you find him? Well, I trust?
So I filled Mr. Sholmes in about everything I'd learned. About Lord Van Zeeks, about Hairbrain, about the strange coincidence that they had been at the university together.
I'm wondering what it was that happened to make Lord Van Zeek such a different person.
I was sure that you'd know, Hurley.
Said there was something going on here in the exhibit hall before. Something was afoot. That you believed it was related to what I wanted to ask you about. Mr. Sholmes? He suddenly clammed up. Well, it seems we've reached the unavoidable.
Greetings.
Oh, hello. Where did she appear from? What's she wearing? Does she look any more mysterious?
I hope you are appreciating my museum.
Sorry, have we... Mr. Sholmes, you know this... Not again.
My apologies. I am Esmeralda Two Spells. This is my museum of waxwork.
What? You're the Madame Two Spells?
Bien so. Only 26 years young, I might add.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. She's pretty smoking. I get and agree with the adoration she is currently receiving in chat. I very, very much condone it. I am not giving this beautifully crafted character the Arnold Schwarzenegger voice. You have been wanting me to give this individual the Arnold Schwarzenegger voice. I feel like I'd have a full-blown riot on my hands. People hated when I did it for Lana. It seems like they're really gonna hate if I do it for her. She's just too... My problem with Lana and why I was not afraid to give her something dumb was because I'm like, you're almost a Mia doppelganger. You look a little different, but you also have the same essence to you. So like, what do I give you? How about something completely opposite of what I gave Mia? Yo, what's up, Lugia? Not giving her the Yasuhiro voice, Seth. Alright, fine. Fine. Choice is yours. I thought this is who you were talking. Well, no, you said 2 chances, right? Especially overwhelming democracy. This is a pretty strong rebuke of the idea of giving her the Arnold voice. How good is my French? Did you hear my really bad accent for what's his fuck from 3-3? Armstrong?
I'm Madame Nemoli. It adds a certain je ne sais quoi.
I don't think I could do it as a.
I'm Madame Nemoli. It adds a certain je ne sais quoi.
I guess kinda. I can try. Otherwise, I was gonna kind of keep that more misty voice from earlier.
Is that significant somehow? I am Madame Nemoli. It adds a certain je ne sais quoi.
Right.
Firstly, I must apologize for my waxworks, or rather, one waxwork in particular.
That'll be Mr. Sholmes then.
I was led to believe he was a great detective, but he seems unable to settle. Next time you move from your designated exhibits, there will be toil and trouble.
Wow. Oh. Mwah.
He sounds deadly serious.
That's the problem. How am I supposed to ask Mr. Sholmes about Lord Van Zeeks now?
Let's not forget what Hurley said before about something being afoot.
There we go. Hey, Acme, thank you for the raid. Tara, how's it going? Welcome, everyone. What was the channel playing on this fine evening? Pretty overwhelming majority there. See, the problem is I don't think I can go higher pitched right now. I tried to do it with Gina and I couldn't. Like, for whatever reason, I just couldn't. Maybe because I'm, like, tired and I'm not used to doing this at night anymore. But, like, I feel like I'm physically, like, limited at a certain decibel. But I'll give it a try. Worst case of DoggoMcPawggo 2. How do you like it? That's the other thing. I feel like sometimes if I go too high, I sound too bubbly. And she doesn't seem like a bubbly person. That's what I'm trying to do. But I'm just not good at French accents. I am better than I used to be after working on that Armstrong accent. You know who's really fucking good at an Americanized French accent is KY. He's so much better at it than I am. He had a scene in Final Fantasy Tactics where he had to do three of his characters were all in the same room, and it was a French guy, or a guy he gave a French accent to, a guy he gave a Russian accent to, and then the guy he gave like a Southern American accent to. When the scene was over, we just bravo, fucking bravo, because that was insane. Isn't that what I'm giving her? It's good. Case 2 was actually balls. But, I mean, the overall arc of the story is interesting so far. But yeah, Case 2 of Resolve is the worst Great Ace Attorney case I've played from the two games so far. That case was really bad. Case 1 was good, though. But holy shit. Case 2 sent me fuming. Note, I am probably going to dislike it more than the average person, because a lot of it was just really faulty legal logic that didn't make a goddamn shred of sense. And people just react to it like, oh, fucking duh. Yeah, everyone, make sure to go check out Acme Studios. Some love throwing radar way, I greatly appreciate it. Do a lot of BA stuff. See, they're playing DoggoMcPawggo, they play Phoenix, right? All that good stuff.
About something being afoot right here in the museum, I mean.
Yes, I know, but...
Let's not forget what Hurley said before about something being afoot in the museum, I mean.
Yes, I know, but...
I'm so curious. I want to know what's happening here.
Like, I don't think I could do my Pearl voice right now if I can. Even though the Iris voice is lower than it should be.
Hi, Mr. Nick.
Yeah, oh god, it's frustrating. I'm trying to get it higher, and I just can't. Yo, what's up, H1? Welcome, good to see you. Thank you for coming in on the raid, much appreciated. So this is something that's been on the back burner for a while because I've had to focus on both work and other channel stuff. But there are some things you can use credits for. I've always meant to expand it. But you know when people use commands besides raid, because raid's meant to be informational. So that doesn't cost anything. But like,
Congratulations!
that.
Improvise, adapt, overcome.
That.
Judgment lights up.
I really need to lower that volume. Those are all things that cost credits. Alright, later, Tom. Take it easy, dude. Have a good day at work. Oh yeah, KY.
Jesus fucking, are you kidding me?
KY might not be a student of gaming anymore, but his yell shall ever remain a part of the channel. The credits were used a lot more often when we were doing, when we were playing Smash, because there was things like make me play a random character, 1v1 me immediately, ban a character for the rest of the night, that sort of thing. But since I haven't been playing Smash anymore, that hasn't really, you know. We also have Dice. D4, 6, 8, 10. Don't we have 10 and 12? No. That's weird. We did. Oh, good lord. We also have it so that I didn't realize I had increased that. So, you know when we do our Jackbox games, stuff like we have members days. But people that have been around for a while, that if you have enough credits, you can use them to essentially become a member to play with us for the day. I had not realized I had upped that cost to 10,000 credits. That is a lot of credits, but I guess that's because there's so many people in the 5 digits now. Trep, JB, and Lugia are all in 6 digits. Spotify started playing. None of that. Where did the KY voice clip come from? From a stream of Bloodborne. That's an interesting idea, though. Like, if somebody can use a ton of credit, like a large portion of credits to determine what accent the next new character will have. That's a good idea. Well, Devin, I think... So I used to give them out a lot more frequently, but as we kind of went away from using them, or not went away, but we just didn't focus on it so much anymore, I stopped giving away credits at every X interval of likes, which is why a lot of people have these huge numbers that have been around. So I gave credits out for 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. So I stopped doing that, and so that's probably why your number is lower than it otherwise would be. I do have a channel, Seth. I just never made it public because I never finished it. Oh, it doesn't count your lurking hours because YouTube doesn't do that for some reason. Twitch does, but YouTube does not. No. No. God, no. God, no. Every $50, I drink a glass of extra pulp orange juice, or with the most recent stuff that I got, not extra pulp, but highest pulp is how they deemed it. So I'm basically drinking a smashed up orange, but lightly smashed. And I actually owe one, but I owe it to CJ. And CJ is not here tonight, so we're going to wait until the next stream. Minute Maid? Maybe? I don't think it's Tropicana. I think it's Minute Maid. I don't... Well, you know me. I don't drink orange juice in general. And if I did drink orange juice, it would not be with pulp. This is only because people give me money to do that. Otherwise, I would not be drinking that. Haven't we got enough on our plate already? Yeah, no, seriously. This is... And that's why she's 2 spells. Ah, I get it. Those who, those who are 2 spell stands are people of culture, I see. Nothing made of orange is delicious. Real orange, fake orange, it's all terrible. No, that would require actual money. And a lot of it. Did you make all these waxworks, Madame 2 Spells? By yourself?
I did. I'm the 3rd generation of waxwork artisans, you know.
God.
Gosh!
was my grandmother who began the tradition in my family. Her fortunes were checkered, living through the turbulent times of the French Revolution as she did.
Well, yeah, grapefruit's terrible too. To be honest, part of the reason I don't hate on grapefruit as much as orange is because for a lot of my life, due to medication I've taken, I can't eat grapefruit or shouldn't have grapefruit flavored things because it actually, for whatever reason, reacts poorly with like Wellbutrin. So, like, I just don't have as much experience with it. That and, like, look at this. This is bullshit. I don't see grapefruit infiltrating my gummies or candies like orange does. So, like, it's just kind of like, oh, yeah, whatever, grapefruit. I should time you out for that, but I'll let you have that one.
So that is when she acquired the savoir-faire that leads to the astonishing life likenesses.
All these waxworks really do look as though they're alive. In fact, they look more alive than Hurley.
What you see exhibited here represents the most atrocious of London's criminal past. All the waxworks were created in the presence of the real people on which they are modeled. In the hours immediately following their executions, it's the secret to the extraordinary life likeness.
Can't say that word. That sounds terrifying.
All walks of life have similar challenges, I'm sure. To carry out one's trade par excellence, one must go to extraordinary lengths. My exhibits are a reflection of society. I create only which the public wishes to see.
Ugh. Why couldn't the public have wished for something less horrifying?
Do not fear.
Sorry?
This room is the only one in the museum with such a macabre theme. I do hope you'll explore. There are models of famous singers, actors, politicians. Well, something for every taste, I hope.
It was Iris who dragged me straight in here, come to think of it.
Sorry, perhaps I should have eased you into things.
That's what my fucking wife would have did.
Immediately to the House of Horrors!
Shouldn't sound like that. Good. Then it might have like a false sense of being really good. Or like a false sense of realism to it. That's really funny. What's the situation with that?
My temporary waxwork model. He approached me some days ago, you see, with a business proposal.
Oh, what sort of proposal?
My dear madam, what these Smarts exhibits need is the addition of a world-famous great detective.
Or words to that effect.
I can feel like I'm almost making her more Spanish.
Naturally, I am well aware that Mr. Jones. Naturally, I am well aware that Mr. Jones is widely known in London as a great, talented detective.
It's great detective, actually. He's very specific about it.
Yes, the creme de la creme. So I was keen to come to some arrangement with him, of course. But sadly, we were unable to agree terms.
Let me guess, someone wanted to charge an exorbitant price for his services.
For a mere £500, I will dive into your cauldron of wax this very moment. Or words to that effect.
Mr. Sholmes might have overdone it slightly with the sales pitch.
Regrettably, the museum has a shortage of funds at the moment due to unforeseen circumstances. So we came to the current arrangement instead.
Surely he doesn't really need to do what he's doing, though, does he?
I would think not, but he was very insistent.
I have a 50 shilling problem that must be resolved by the morning.
Or words to that effect.
It's the pawnbroker, that's what it is. He must have something to redeem.
Is this consulting detective work not going so well? I wonder, could I ask you something?
Bien sûr. Bien sûr.
How would you pronounce the U in that situation? Just S-U-R with the... I know, right? He has no capital to leverage.
Sir. Sir.
I'm just curious, is anything going on in the museum at the moment? Like some kind of incident, perhaps?
Whatever suggested such a thing to you?
Well, it was... Your temporary waxwork over there who mentioned it to me a little... Oh, he's disappeared. The waxwork model is a work of art, not something for tawdry trade. Something I said to that effect. Or something to that effect. There you are.
Leaving the exhibit again when you should be working. Do you wish to be noted down?
My dear Madam Two Spells, save your reprimands. There are more pressing concerns. The wax can wait. It's our ideas about your current problem we must throw into the melting pot instead. Personally, I would advise you not to involve the police.
Ever not.
Well, that expired tourist visa that you have is kind of problematic. She's turned as white as a sheet. Because you have at your disposal a great detective, whose services you may employ for a mere 50 shillings. Though please be aware that I insist upon payment in advance.
Very well. Let us see if the great detective is able to live up to his name, shall we?
Before I engage my analytical processes, I must ask you to clarify something. What, pray, is behind the curtain?
That is the Two Spells special exhibits. There is an extra charge to see it.
Ah, the special exhibit in the House of Horrors. It must depict a special killer then, I presume. My thoughts on Sherlock Sholmes? He is presented incredibly well. I love Sholmes' character. Would you be so kind as to draw back the curtain, I wonder?
Ah, I'm so alone. There is nothing amiss behind there. Behind there.
Nothing amiss, madam. Like, is that a joke? What about the arm protruding ominously from under the curtain?
Ah, I thought you might not notice that.
I strongly encourage you to allow me to see what lies beyond, before the situation worsens.
Yes, very well. I will draw back the curtains. But only a soupcon? Soupcon?
Soupçon, right? Soupçon. Is the P pronounced there? Soupçon? It is pronounced soupçon.
But only a soupçon? I must confess, I peeked behind the curtain earlier. The Two-Spell special exhibit is a very bleak graveyard scene indeed. And yet, somewhat surprisingly, the waxwork killer one would expect is nowhere to be seen. What does strike one, however, is the portly gentleman lying peacefully on his back on the floor.
That's the bus company owner guy. Well, I guess somebody won't be on the jury anytime soon. Bang, 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 bang. Ryusuke's like, oh yeah, fuck that guy. Well, then perhaps Mr. Sholmes, that man on the floor, is the ruthless killer himself? Okay. I get that Ryu's been in England for 6 months now. But he has had a total of what? 5 trials? 4 or 5? And a total of 14, 12, 13, 14 jurors total? That's not a lot of jurors. I'm pretty sure it would be very easy to remember every single one of their faces. Especially considering that was his first case. No, he was the first foreman. Oh, wait. Yeah, he was the first foreman. He wasn't the guy that, that was a different guy, right? That ran the bus company? I knew he was a juror, though. Fucking Ryu's like, huh, maybe that's the killer.
I'm afraid not, my dear fellow. He's a perfectly ordinary London gentleman. Not even a waxwork, in fact.
What?
As skillfully made as these works are, they're always distinguishable from real humans. So, allow me to present my 2 conclusions. The first is that a sizable business transaction has been taking place in this special exhibit.
Why did you say that?
And the second is that the aforementioned transaction is linked to a serious crime.
Ah! She looks as pale as candle wax. I don't understand.
So, Madame Two-Spells, as you agreed to my fee, you shall now have the pleasure of seeing this famously great detective and temporary exhibit at work. To begin with, we must ask ourselves, what exactly is afoot here in this museum? The answer is revealed by the bundle of banknotes protruding so helpfully from your bag. In my estimation, some 200 pounds.
That is all my own money. That is all my own money.
So what does this large sum of money reveal? Ah, not as much as the involuntary glance you cast, it would seem, Madam Two-Spells. Yes, the answer lies where your eyes now fall. The significance of the 200 pounds is revealed by the public notice. Waxwork for sale. Your business has hit hard times, it would seem. In short, you sold the infamous killer, the centerpiece of your special exhibit, for the sum of 200 pounds.
None!
Now, let us explore the next curiosity with which we are presented. Who is this portly gentleman stretched out so peacefully on the floor? It would appear the man has suffered a severe shock, the cause of which is clearly known to you. Ah! Unfortunately, madam, keeping secrets does not appear to be your forte. What dealt the man such a shocking blow was, of course, the 200 pounds. It would appear that you twisted this gentleman around your little finger most effectively.
What are you suggesting?
He rashly agreed to purchase the waxwork for the sum of 200 pounds. Only when he came to hand the money over did it occur to him what extortionate amount he was paying. But the money was no longer in his hands. And the result, the scene we see before us. He collapsed in shock. Yes, the killer in the special exhibit fetched a killer price. We can only pray that the gentleman's dreams are not plagued with regret. The question that arises then is what has become of the waxwork that changed hands. Let us consider that problem for a moment.
You cannot possibly.
What immediately strikes me about this conundrum is the young man standing over there. Who is this fellow? To find the answer, we need only observe his neckerchief. Such as is worn by policemen as a secret sign to fellow members of the force that a crime is being perpetrated. Yes, this young man is an undercover policeman, currently investigating this museum. I know him well, in fact. It's Sergeant John Clay.
What are you talking about?
The man's quite a celebrity. He received triple accolades at last year's policing awards.
What?
Next, we turn our attention to the old man sat before him with particularly unsightly visage. I've been watching closely and he hasn't moved a muscle. Almost, in fact, as if he were waxwork.
But you...
Your reaction only confirms my suspicions, madam. I noticed it at once, of course. Observe. The telltale sign that instantly proves whether or not this old man is a waxwork is the obvious price tag. Threepence.
Wait, is it threepence or I know we talked about this before.
A tragically low price, you might say. Though perhaps the going rate for aging waxworks riddled with cracks. And yet you sold it to the portly gentleman for an exorbitant 200 pounds. The sort of plucky behavior that's sure to attract the attention of Scotland Yard. Isn't that so, madam?
I do not...
Yes, the waxwork you sold has already been seized by the police and remains in their custody as we speak. The old man must be reunited with his grave in the special exhibit, and not a moment too soon.
Repents.
Thus concludes Sherlock Holmes' great deduction of this horrifying puzzle.
It's on a state-by-state basis, so I can't tell you that. I don't know. When were you alerted? You have to, okay, so you have to complete a questionnaire. That's pretty standard. God damn, you guys get paid a lot. $50? I think ours is like 30 something dollars. And you get mileage? Yeah, I can't find the answer. Respond to your summons within 10 days, but that is Seattle, Washington, which does not help me, and I don't know why that's even popping up, because I am really looking for Maine. I don't remember Wisconsin's being so quick. I thought we had way more time than 10 days. This says they're paid $15 per day. Why is there a discrepancy? That's weird. Yeah, why doesn't it? Maybe there is no. Maybe you just have to show up. Maybe there is no requirement to fill out the questionnaire beforehand. I don't know. It'll tell you on the thing, obviously, but. Yeah, we don't get mileage, and we get paid dog shit. Well, the letter will state it, yes. It's just a matter of he's curious, because that might determine how much haste he puts into retrieving the letter. Yeah, I would just check it out. I see I've stunned you all into silence.
You have, Hurley, you have. You've obviously upset this young lady in the process. Her cauldron looks awfully hot.
If I could just bring up 1 point, Mr. Sholmes.
Ah, the notorious Naruhodo 1 point. I'm all ears, my dear fellow.
According to your deduction, then the special exhibit featured this old policeman. So that would mean that he's the particularly ruthless murderer, wouldn't it?
The killer policeman, Ottermole.
Sorry?
It was a mysterious series of murders that rattled the capital only last year. The police rushed to the scene every time, only to find the culprit had disappeared into the ether.
It turned out the culprit was a policeman himself, a senior officer by the name of Ottermole.
So you mean that's who the sinister-looking old man there is supposed to be?
Indeed. It is a particularly grim face, is it not? Unforgettable, in fact. Yes, I remember that odious countenance only too well.
Is 200 pounds a lot of money for a wax model?
It would be enough to afford one of the latest steam carriages, if that puts things in perspective.
So it is quite a lot then.
Is there anything else you wish to add?
If I melt you down?
That public wax is looking more and more ominous.
The smell of all that molten wax is starting to worry me. Mr. Sholmes did more or less just accuse her to her face, so I think I might have to call on your assistance here, Iris, if that's alright. Make some minor corrections to the great detective's great deductions.
Of course it's alright. We'll soon set things straight.
Well, let's get started then, shall we? For Madame Two Spells vents her anger.
That's what I was waiting to hear, my dear fellow. So, Madame Two Spells, in accordance with our agreement, you shall now have the pleasure of seeing this famously great detective and temporary exhibit at work. To begin with, we must ask ourselves what exactly is afoot here in this museum. The answer is revealed by the bundle of banknotes protruding so helpfully from your bag. In my estimation, some 200 pounds.
That's all my own money. Own money? That is all my own money.
So what does this large sum of money reveal? Not as much as the involuntary glance you cast, it would seem, Madame Two Spells. Yes, the answer lies with your eyes, where your eyes now fall. The significance of the 200 pounds is revealed by that public notice.
You definitely looked in this direction, it's true.
I'm not sure she'd sell any of her waxworks even for 200 pounds.
Oh?
She must pour her heart and soul into making them. Don't you think? Over and above the wax. If it were me, I wouldn't sell them for anything.
Well, that's because you're a child. For that much money, I would. But it sounds like that makes me a bad person. No, it makes you an adult with responsibilities. Well, anyway, I wonder if the 200 pounds could have some other significance.
Let's follow that brief glance again and see if there's anything else that could explain it.
Take that!
Fuck! I forgot that I had this. I should probably look at it first. Getting ahead of myself.
What's that note doing pinned on the wall there?
Oh yes, let's see. Dear Madame Two Spells, you've taken the prisoner from this room. The price for his safe return is 200 pounds. Have the money ready by noon on 23rd October.
What?
This is just like some sort of thing that's left behind when someone is kidnapped.
Yes, it's a ransom note.
Exactly.
Take that!
The significance of the 200 pounds is revealed by that ransom note.
Quite so, and we must congratulate these criminals on their inventiveness abducting a waxwork. 200 pounds is no small ransom fee, yet you clearly intend to pay it.
The modeling question has special importance. So I put together all the money I have.
In summary then, the 200 pounds you have in your handbag is ransom money. Now, let us explore the next curiosity with which we are presented. Who is the portly gentleman stretched out so peacefully on the floor? It would appear the man has suffered a severe shock, cause of which is clearly known to you. Unfortunately, madam, keeping secrets does not appear to be your forte. What dealt the man such a shocking blow was, of course, the 200 pounds.
So if the waxwork was kidnapped, where does that leave us in terms of who the man is?
Could just ask him when he comes around.
I think the point of this exercise is to understand the beauty of the deduction process, Iris.
Yes, you're right. Freddy's trying so hard, we mustn't let him down.
At least they tried to explain that. so it makes sense to some degree. Well, there's little doubt that he suffered a shock. That much just seems clear. But in that case, what's Madame Two Spells trying to hide? Have a closer look around. Jeez, Purdy. And the witch aesthetic is hot! NGL. What could we be looking at?
This is just Madame Two Spells' right hand, isn't it?
Yes, it must be. I can clearly see her left hand after all.
Oh, but wait a minute. This is a left hand as well, look. It's also giant.
Don't say such creepy things, Iris, please.
It seems very stiff, too. In fact, it's really hard.
Are you touching it? While she's just standing there? You mean it's made of wax?
Take that!
What dealt the man such a shocking blow was, of course, the waxwork hand.
Indeed. With a solid waxwork limb, one could deliver a very substantial blow.
How could you know?
The hand protruding from the bottom of your cape.
The hand protruding from the bottom of your cape. It ought to be a right hand, but closer inspection reveals that, in fact, it's a left hand. Ah!
And somewhat masculine as well. In other words, it does not belong to you, madam. It is the hand of a waxwork model.
Yeah! Dog got beat over the fucking head with an arm.
Some of the visitors in my museum can be troublesome. They meddle with the exhibit and cause damage.
So you mean that arm?
Yes, this gentleman saw fit to try to remove it as a souvenir.
No small keepsake.
Taking a whole branch of a cherry tree when you go to view the blossoms.
I am afraid I had to teach the man a lesson.
You confronted the man and tried to take the arm back. And the result, the scene we see before us. He was knocked unconscious. A point we may need to revisit later. But for the time being, we have our conclusion. Yes, the killer in this special exhibit has been kidnapped.
Witches have backward feet. That's interesting.
The question that arises then is what has become of the waxwork that changed hands? Let us consider that problem for a moment.
You cannot possibly.
What immediately strikes me about this conundrum is the young man standing over there. Who is this fellow? To find an answer, we need only observe his neckerchief.
No, he doesn't have a left arm. According to Mr. Sholmes, the yellow neckerchief is a sign to other policemen that some crime is underway.
A way of communicating with his colleagues without revealing his identity, yes? It's a secret that's closely guarded by Scotland Yard.
Mr. Sholmes didn't hesitate to give away.
Oh, uncovering secrets is any true detective's nature, of course.
Right. Anyway, judging from Madame Two Spell's reaction to Mr. Sholmes' deduction, perhaps we might not have identified the man quite correctly. What the? The man has a stub sticking out of his shoulder where his arm should be.
Oh, well, that settles that then.
Right. This isn't a real person at all. His entire arm's been ripped off from the shoulder down. His arm's been ripped from the shoulder down. His arm ties in with what we just found out.
Take that!
All right, Acme, take it easy. Thanks again for the raid. Huh. That's interesting. No murders in the zone. How can that be? Should instead be like the zone of oblivion or something. Purgatory. No, not purgatory. Purgatory. That makes more sense. Who is this fella? To find the answer, we need only observe his shoulder stub.
No such boneless human walks this earth. Of that, I can assure you. In other words, the man standing there here, the young Sergeant John Clay, is in fact, defying all odds, a waxwork model.
I seem to remember it was you who concluded he was a real person in the first place, Mr. Sholmes. He has become quite a celebrity in London, being the winner of no less than 3 policing awards last year. I simply had to make a model of the man.
Naturally. What other explanation could there be?
And it was this detective's arm that was pulled off by the man on the floor in the special exhibit, wasn't it?
Next, we turn our attention to the old man sat before him with a particularly unsightly visage. Watching closely, and he hasn't moved a muscle. Almost, in fact, as if he were a waxwork.
But you...
The reaction only confirms my suspicion now. I noticed it at once, of course. Observe. Telltale sign that instantly proves whether or not this old man is a waxwork is the obvious price tag.
Killer policeman called Ottermole, was it? Was he well known? It was all over the papers last year, but I can't say I know what he looks like. It's a very low price, though. Tuppence isn't much money. Only enough for a few measly hours of gas in Mr. Girdup's delightful lodgings, in fact. So this is the special killer taken from the special exhibit, is it? A waxwork that someone stole from the museum and tried to ransom for 200 pounds. Is this crusty old killer policeman Ottermole, really? Perhaps we should have a good look around again. Another idea crops up. £3 is a far cry from 200 pounds, is it? For £3 you could buy it and put it on display in your room, Reno. I think I'd rather not go to sleep being watched by an old man. It's all the same to you. Price tag does stand out, though, doesn't it? I mean, you couldn't even buy the helmet on his head for that much money, I don't think. I don't know what the price tag's really for, then. The scarf. Does it not say? I don't believe it. It's the secret sign that lets other detectives know some criminal activity is underway. It's the sign that lets detectives know some criminal activity is underway. Yes, it's a slightly strange choice of outfit if he was trying to go unnoticed. Ah, he must be a detective disguised as a policeman. Or a detective disguised as a waxwork model of a policeman. Doesn't look like he's clever enough to think of something like that, though. Perhaps you should try to be a little more polite about him, Iris. Look at this! The old man's tapping his foot like crazy. Seems to be fast asleep, though. He's not tapping his foot consciously, then? So you mean... It must be a twitch! Never mind that. The point is, waxworks don't tap their feet. Yet. Or twitch! His arm, too. We've seen a scarf like that somewhere else around here, haven't we? So what do I...
Take that!
Later, Thermidor. The telltale sign that instantly proves whether or not this old man is a waxwork is the obvious twitch.
Even the most realistic waxworks do not exhibit a twitch.
I hate that word. I hate the word waxwork. It's so goddamn hard to say for some reason.
In other words, this splendid old man is in fact a genuine member of Scotland Yard.
Slight shift in your choice of adjectives, then.
And there you have it. Well, madame, 2 spells.
Well, what? Well, what? It was me who contacted the police and demanded that someone come in the first place. He's clearly fatigued. He is sound asleep.
But then, what's this tag about? It's showing a price of 3 pence.
No doubt the price tag of the muffler, which the old Bobby purchased recently at a local market. And I presume you've observed the scarf tied around his arm. Does that not strike you, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yes, the secret sign used by detectives to show that some criminal activity is currently underway.
Of course, because, as you know, there has been just such criminal activity happening here. As you deduced from the very beginning, detective.
So it would seem that we finally arrived at the truth.
The waxwork of the especially ruthless killer from the special exhibit has been kidnapped.
And Scotland Yard are already investigating. But the model's whereabouts remain a mystery. Thus concludes Sherlock Sholmes' great deduction of this horrifying puzzle.
All sorts of people visit my museum here, men and women, young and old. Sometimes they drop in just for a short time on their way back to the pub. I welcome them all. But if anyone tries to damage my exhibits, I do not take it lightly. Anyway. The great deduction was even more enchanting than I had been led to believe.
It was a pleasure, my dear madam. I'm gratified that you enjoyed this spectacle. As for your rough customer, I no doubt he'll regain consciousness shortly and return home. What concerns me more is the waxwork from the special display was indeed genuinely abducted.
Yes, tragically it was.
Then I would ask you to recount to us the events surrounding the stolen waxwork, in as much detail as possible, if you please.
Very well. But after I have told you what I know, I must insist that you return to your work.
The talents of a great detective could be put to better use, I feel, but as you wish. That, my dear friends, is where we shall end the night. As my throat is killing me, and it's still kind of hot. So, let's take a look at the schedule real quick. That you guys can have an update on where things lie.
Okay, so. So we have the stream today on the 20th. No stream tomorrow. I might. I would like to stream on Wednesday. It'd be another Great Ace Attorney stream. Friday, I have work stuff to do, so that's going to be canceled. Twitch is probably going to move to Thursday, 23rd. 27th is still on. Then another work day, the 28th, that I have to address. And then Twitch in the evening on the 29th. I'll get the July schedule up as soon as I can. There's a bunch of stuff I need to clarity on in terms of plans. So for right now, my aim would be Wednesday and Monday. Wednesday the 22nd, Monday the 27th. And those would both be at their usual time in the morning. The temperature is supposed to be more bearable. So we'll try and get a morning time. Good. All right. Well, thank you everybody for bearing with me and joining in this special evening stream. Thank you to Nick Harper for joining the student body, much appreciated. Thank you to Acme Studios for the raid. Thank you to Gina for having some pretty awesome and promising character progression. And thank you to Madame Two Spells for being a smoking hot babe. All right, we'll get back to Two Spells stuff next time. Until then, everybody, stream is adjourned.
You know how you're gonna... Do you think you can land?